Okay, so this one is pyramid pose. I'm going to show you how to do the classic version as well as a variation, depending on what you're doing or how your body works. One might feel better to you than the other. And there are also plenty of ways to play, just like any posture once you're in there. So we will start, let's just start in a lunge, low lunge. Let's start with the right foot forward. I'm going to grab blocks. I find for pyramid pose, blocks are pretty much essential for me. My arms are a little bit shorter. I'm a little bit shorter in general. If you're really long limbed and you're also really open through the hips and the low spine, you might not need blocks. So I'll show you ways to do it without and with, but I find them super helpful, especially with what's going on. So you'll start in a nice long low lunge. Good. You're going to drag that right hip back, heart forward, nice and wide. So you're already lifted. Instead of sagging down, you're already almost where you need to be. So for a pyramid pose, you're going to lift your hips up, which is going to straighten your right leg. And you're going to draw your left foot forward enough so it can drop flat on the ground. So again, just as far forward as it needs to drop. So it's not hovering, it's all the way flat on the ground, and you'll let the head fall down. So again, if you don't have blocks, fingertips are probably on the floor here. That works for me. This feels like there's a bit of a strain. And if you're feeling a lot of strain behind the right leg, what you want to do is what I just did was bend the right knee. So the right knee can be bent any amount, a little or a lot. It really doesn't matter. That's when blocks come in handy. So you're working the right leg towards straight, but it never has to straighten. The left leg, on the other hand, the back leg, that's your supporting leg. It is straight. Spread out your left toes, step deep into your left foot, and watch it happen. Pull your left kneecap up, right? So it's not a saggy back leg, you're pressing into it. Now step deep into your right foot. Whether your right leg is straight or not doesn't matter. I want you to pull your right hip backwards in space. Whoo! And that's the stretch. Pulling your right hip back, 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 and working to straighten your right leg. So right here, you're in a soft variation of a pyramid pose. If you want it to be more active, which you'll often hear for cute, you're going to half lift the spine, which is again where blocks come in really handy. I'm going to even spider tip my fingers here and lift up so high that my chest is now in line with my hips, my shoulders move back, and I'm constantly pulling right hip back, right hip back, right hip back. Again, this shape can be made with fingers on the floor. For me, it's just a lot of strain. So the back is going to go flat-ish without the blocks. Mine doesn't get completely flat, but I'm working towards there. It's just much deeper in the back of the hamstring and the hip. So for me, it doesn't feel quite as spacious as it does with the blocks. So I like the blocks to really give me the lifted space in the joint first, and then tug and pull that right hip back. I'm constantly thinking of someone pulling my forward and pressing my right hip back. Lots of energy through the head. I'm not looking up. I'm not looking all the way down. I'm pretty much about 6 inches in front of the tip of my mat. Just for 3, just for 2, and just for 1. Good. And you're going to fold back over that right leg. To find a variation of this, slide yourself right back down into that low lunge. Good. Now keep the depth of your low lunge, right? And keep the length of it. So push deep into the ball of your left foot. As you breathe in, widen your chest. As you breathe out, just lift your hips up, but keep your feet where they are. So now you're in a variation of a pyramid pose. As you can see, my hands are way in front of my shoulders now, and my foot isn't going to touch the ground. My left foot is not, the heel rather, is not on the ground, and that's fine. But what I need to do to take some strain out of my wrist is move my hands, with or without blocks, underneath my shoulders. I'm still going to press deep into both feet, straighten out the left leg, soft bend in the right knee, and pull right hip back, right hip back, right hip back. And again, I can lift my heart. You're going to pull the belly up, send the heart forward, drag the right hip back. Belly up, heart forward, right hip back. Just for 3. Just for 2. Good. And 1, this one's an easy shift. You're right into a low lunge. Good. Let's turn around to the other side. Blocks will go with you. Find that low lunge. We'll just even it out so it feels good. That one's a really deep stretch. So start in your low lunge. Take a big breath in, widen your chest. As you breathe out, you're going to walk the right foot forward, drop it flat, breathe out, and lift the hips up. So head just falls down. Right leg is strong. I'm stepping into it, lifting the calf muscle up. And as I breathe out, I'm going to pull left hip back, left hip back, left hip back. So see, the hips kind of want to roll just like they do when you're doing that humble warrior, right? They want to roll open, but instead you're thinking, Right hip bone, draw towards the left knee. Right hip bone to the left knee. Gentle bend through the left knee is fine. And then you're going to lift the heart up. Again, fingers are on blocks or not, that doesn't matter. Keep puffing the heart forward, pulling the belly in, thinking of the hip bone moving back. It's as if my head is growing inches and inches and inches away from my hip bones, and my hip bones are going backwards inches away. Just for 3. Just for 2. Good, and 1, soften the left knee, melt all the way back into your low lunge. And we'll find a variation. So this time you'll keep the length of your low lunge. You're gonna take a big breath in, widen your chest. Breathe out, hips are gonna float up into the air, and this time you don't move the right leg, so the right heel is still floating. You're gonna add weight to it, so press it towards the earth as if you want it to touch the earth, but it won't. You'll keep the right leg straight, pull the left hip back, and for me, I definitely have to move the arms because we always want joints stacked. Wrist underneath elbows, elbows underneath shoulders, and instead of sinking into that left knee, which I'm prone to do because I'm a little hyperextended, I'm gonna give it a bend so I can push through the foot. Then you lift the heart up, 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 up. Pull the left hip back, heart forward, hip back, heart forward, just for 3. Widen the chest, just for 2. And 1, let that all fold. Melt forward into the left leg, that's your low lunge. You can step forward, roll yourself up, and let that go. Perfect. So that's a pyramid pose. Now you know how to do it. I'll see you later. Bye.